Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Aging Services Thought Leadership on Technology and AI. My name is Majd-Alwan. I'm the founder and CEO of Alwan AI Vantage, which is a startup company that focuses on advancing technology and innovation strategies, adoption, and growth, particularly in the aging services. It is my great pleasure and honor today to host Nicholas Lee, who is the founder of Care Business Advisors, and he's also the owner of Augusta Homecare in the United Kingdom. And today, Nicholas and I will be talking about his experience with technology and AI, and as well as how he used some of these technologies to build systems that actually he managed to turn around a home care agency in the UK that he owned and bring it back from the brink of bankruptcy, essentially, to become a growing and not only a surviving, but also a thriving business. So welcome, Nicholas, and thank you very much for being a guest on this show.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Maj, for inviting me. And I'm honored to be here, given knowing a bit more about what you do as well. So yeah, very excited to share what I may have to share to your audience. And let's get going.
Great. Why don't we start by, Nicholas, you introducing your company, both the Care Business Advisors, as well as the home care company that you owned or acquired a while back. And tell us a little bit also about your role and what the situation was when you acquired Augusta Home Care.
Yeah, sure. So I guess quick background. I'm actually a chartered accountant by trade. So I've been trained by Deloitte, worked there for 5 years. That's kind of where my financial side, the auditing side, which now is really helpful to allow me to see kind of gaps, issues, systems. And that's how I was able to bring that to, it was actually Louisa Home Care. So I acquired that at the end of 2023. So now we've literally 2 years and a month that we've owned the business. So when we bought the business, one of the key things that we realized was, one, the company was about to shut down. We had maybe 4 months left in terms of cash and runway to go. But the main thing that really got me kind of wanting to really help there was the owner was literally burned out. Like, she was working 7 days a week. She wasn't paying herself for like on calls. She wasn't paying herself for some care work she was doing. And I was like, okay, apart from the business side, which I know I can help, it's the personal side that to me is more important, because after speaking to quite a few business owners in the industry, I realized that they all care more sometimes about their clients than themselves, or clients and team rather than themselves. And that was an example that really showed this, where she had not paid herself. She had taken care of them more than herself. So yeah, we went there. There was a few things very quickly we could find. So with my skills, I guess, with financial statements, I was able to go in within 2 or 3 weeks. We found £20,000 that we could put back in the company. We could pay ourselves as well, but also then we could use some to reinvest in the company. So that was the first thing, literally looking at the expenses, looking at the revenue, even the profit margin, and seeing where small changes can bring massive savings for a company. And with that, you get that breathing space that then you can take a step back, think a bit better, and just make better decisions, right? So that's one of the first thing. The other thing we've identified was a belief problem, I would say, but a belief kind of culture where recruitment, one of the biggest issue in home care, or I don't know if care home as much, but home care mainly, recruitment is one of the biggest issue because there's a massive turnover of the carers, of the people working in there. So that was the first thing.
That's true here for the aging services aging services sector in general.
Exactly.
That also is the case in the U.S. They're generally overburdened, underpaid, underappreciated.
Exactly.
So, and I'm really thrilled to hear that. And I do apologize. I said Augusta Health. I meant Louisa Health.
Yeah.
So it's a for-profit, right?
Yes.
So I'm really thrilled to see a for-profit aging services company that really cares about their employees, which again goes against some of the perception that some people have about for-profit aging services companies. So kudos to you and to Louisa Health for recognizing the important role that the human capital plays, and without those humans, there is no care,
Exactly.
and without the care, there is no clients, and there is no revenue, right? So this is absolutely thrilling to me.
Exactly.
Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That makes sense. Yeah, and from what you said, it's true. Like, if you don't have the carers, if you don't have your team, you don't have a business, because you can't run without them. And that's the funny thing, right? When I came into the business, everyone in the team was like, well, Nicholas, no one wants to work with us. We're struggling to recruit. And I don't know if you've heard of Indeed. I think it's quite...
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So Indeed, they were paying Indeed £200 a month, and they were getting between 3 to 5 applicants a month. Now, I've not been in the healthcare industry as such in the past, but I've worked with different companies and helped them grow in different ways. So I came into it from a neutral perspective regarding recruitment. And I was like, okay, I'll just go on Indeed, put a post out. Within a few weeks, the team came back saying, Nicholas, can you pause it now? We just have too many applicants. And I was like, what? You just told me no one wants to do this. So fair enough. It wasn't the filtered applicant. So we then improved the process. But eventually we got to a point where now, last month, we moved from 5 applicants a month to 130 applicants. And then in the past 4 months, we've been able to onboard 5 new carers every month. Where in the past they couldn't find anyone. So, and that's the key thing I want to share. It's like, sometimes I call it the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you think something's going to happen, you tend to do the work or not do the work to make sure it does happen, so you can prove to yourself that is the truth. And that's what I've seen in industry, because I just attended another workshop in the industry with other people in my area, and they are still complaining about recruitment, where right now, clearly we have solved it. And the best part, it's not costing us any money. I found a loophole, so we don't need to spend money on Indeed, but it's going well. So that's one of the big ones, because if you don't have the team, you can't work. So yeah.
So what was the secret sauce that you used on Indeed? I know a lot of businesses advertise job opportunities on Indeed. I'm curious now just to hear what was your secret sauce.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't know which part I can share, because I wonder if I share and it gets kind of known, then it might be a bit less effective. But one of the big one was essentially you need to renew your ads. So what we saw was they had an ad which had never been renewed for the past 2 years. And therefore, even though they are paying for it, when you put a new fresh ad, it goes up. But then eventually, as time goes by, it just go down the listing.
It becomes stale and old.
So one of the key one we did was every month we would renew the ad or create a new ad, and then we would still get 10 to 15 applicants per ad. And then the other one, we started to do more ads. Now, the loophole on the free, making it free, if you want more, maybe you can ask me. I think I might need to keep that one for myself.
Yeah, we'll keep that for private conversation.
Exactly. But the key one is you just need to renew your ads, and you're going to have new ones coming in. But yeah, that was the key thing to solve. But also what we realized is the pay rate they were sharing on the applications or on the job ads were too low. So I kind of worked some kind of numbers magic, and we were able to increase the rate from 1175 to 1465. And can you see how much more interesting it is for someone to apply for this type of rate? Which brings me to the other point. When I came into this industry, I realized how many hidden costs were present that people maybe are not aware of. But because I'm an auditor, because I'm an accountant, and because I'm OCD, I wanted to understand every single piece of data, numbers that's going on. So I went very deep. And every time I would discover something new that the owner didn't tell me, because she didn't realize that was an important part in the system, in the thing. So that's how I built a whole system about invoicing, making sure we knew exactly how much we're invoicing, is it the right amount, and having a system to really streamline the process. And this is where you come into, coming back to your points, how to maximize using technology. So one of the key things I found out, they were using Microsoft 365, which is a bit like Google Docs, right?
Yep.
They were using as the kind of old version. You have a document, you send it across back and forth. They were not using as a dynamic tool. They were not dynamic tool, meaning you can keep changing and it keeps the changes, right? And the big part is with this document, you can also put comments on. I love my Excel because on each cell, you can put a comment. The person that put it there is going to be there, is going to be timestamped, and then you can reply and solve issues rather than sending emails that gets lost. So
it's taking advantage of that, the fact that this is a shared online document for improving collaboration and frankly, it's expediting collaboration, right? Rather than saving and keeping version controls and track changes and so on and so forth, which after a while, the document becomes very hard to read, right?
Yeah, you lose it. And the main thing is you lose it. You don't know where things are, and then you just need to spend more time finding what you need. Whereas now it's all in one place, easy to track. But with that, it allowed me also to have all my data into one sheet, which so my vision of numbers is I need to find what I call raw data, or I call it the data dump from auditing, which if you've got the base number correctly formatted in the best way possible, then you can have formulas that give you the right reports at different layers. This is where your manager can have some numbers that he needs to use, where you as the owner or the director, potentially you're not looking at every single detail, but you get the right information to make the right decisions.
So role-based authorization and access to dashboards and visualization of data at different levels.
Exactly. So I started creating those dashboards in more detail and linking them to the right data. And the big one is also making sure you have some checks in case things go wrong. So we can go deeper in those, but just to give an idea, it's using technology, like you said, to have shared information and have everyone work at the same time, potentially, to save you time, to have data in the right place, to be able to work faster together. But to me, it was also the data, because right now, 2 weeks ago, we've had like an issue in the company where if I didn't have my data in that much depth or detail, I would have missed it for the next 3-4 months. That could have cost us at least £10,000 if we just let it go. But because I saw something weird going on, or like a pattern which was not expected, we could go and solve the issue quickly and get it forward. And this is what I think many companies right now in the aging industry might be struggling with, because if the data is everywhere, is on paper, it's not linked together, that's where you're missing
inconsistent multiple data entry forms, inconsistent in terms of format, in terms of absolutely clean data is key for not only data visualization, but also for successful utilization of data analytics, predictive analytics, decision support analytics, and more advanced AI applications as well, right?
Exactly. And also having it in a timely manner so you can make the change now, not when it's too late, in a month's time or 2 months' time.
Exactly. And that's the power of not only descriptive analytics, which give you the the status now, but also to build predictive analytics and see how things, the past data, how can it predict how things are going to be in the near future, so that you can make those tweaks and changes to avoid a catastrophic outcome, whether it's related to care outcome or a financial outcome, right? Because both, or an outcome in terms of number of employees, someone who's at risk of flight risk, right? At risk of leaving the company to some other ones.
Yeah, and that's a great point you're raising, because the other key one is this company was, I wouldn't say in a mess, but it was kind of in a mess because people were doing different things. Key one, the reason the owner was burnt out is because all of the knowledge she had was in her head. Her team didn't know, so she always needed to be there. And I don't know if you've heard stories, but I've heard many stories of owners where even if they go on holidays, they are not really on holidays. Their phones needs to be with them in case someone calls them. And that's where she was. So when I got into it, it was what you just mentioned. Because we've got the data in one place, we can now also do what I like to call have a list of tasks and identify the one that you can start to delegate. Otherwise, they are just killing fires every single day, and you can't even look up to go forward or to find what issues are happening, because you don't even know. It's just happening every day.
And that's the power of AI today. Is not only sort of it's building that knowledge base, right? That the owner needs to be plugged in, or has in their brain, and needs to be plugged in every little sort of operational process. Have a knowledge base, build an AI around the knowledge base, and also have standard operating procedures, and sort of even coaching and sort of spoon feeding sometimes the individual carers or employees, regardless of their role. That's fantastic. So again, congratulations. Where is the company now? Is it in a profitable phase?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, part of what you've just mentioned, I wanted to touch upon as well, is the education part. So I believe in not kind of having sheep where you just tell them to do something and they do it. I prefer having someone that understands what they're doing. And so if they understand why you are doing something in a certain way, then they can help you make it better. So it's not just one person thinking and finding solutions. The whole team together can find solutions, but also you trust that they understand why you're doing it. So if there's a problem, they can solve it. By the way, this is where, to me, AI becomes very valuable. So over the past year, I've used AI literally every day, because every time there's a problem, you need to just ask the right question and you get the right answers. AI has helped me save so much money. Taxes, I've built something pretty incredible with what we've done and saved at least £20,000 in taxes. But yeah, in terms of where we are right now with those systems, we've been able to literally get the accountants out of the picture, because they were just doing the bare minimum. They didn't know much about the business, and they were charging us very high cost. I've been able to use some outsourcing team members, which cost us less money, but they do more accurate work, provide us with more data. And now things are going like clockwork with payroll, invoices, pension. We don't need to worry about having an accountant. That team is doing it in-house. So that's dropped the cost massively, which allowed us to then reinvest, like we said, into proper training, other systems, subscriptions we'll need, which comes back to another thing which you might like as well, is they were doing things manually, even with the care work they would do, using paper, losing paper, bad handwriting, time wasted, all of those. So I went out there and spoke to 7 different software companies, found the best one. And of course, they've got AI in their software, but it allows us to get the right data to track the care and save us time. Now, with this, we've been able to triple the company in the past 2 years. And we've moved the company from a loss making to now close to 6 figures in profit. And the goal now is to double again and to get the profit, keeping it quite high. So we can, keep growing. And to me, the main thing is really about education, though, because as you grow, as we know, it's going to depend on the people. But if you've got people who are just there, we talked about where, something happens, they do something, and you ask them, why did you do this? If their answer is only because someone told me or because it was done last year, you've got an education problem, because that person has not thought through the process. They're just going through the motion, and they might not be the best person to be around, which is another key point regarding recruitment. The reason I've seen many companies struggle is because if you're struggling with recruitment, you become a beggar. So you will just take anyone who would want to work with you.
Yep.
And therefore, the culture, the way they are coming and working with you is wrong from the start. However, where we are right now, because we have so many applicants, like the data I have, we are actually only hiring 1 out of 20 applicants we get in. So we're very selective. And also we make them work in terms of them working to work with us, working to prove to us why they are a good fit. So once that happens, your retention rate is higher, and the culture is a better fit because they've actually committed to working with you, rather than you trying to push them to work with you with a good pay or with like some short-term incentives rather than a long-term loyal method.
Yeah, and having the passion for being in this sector, right? Being in this sort of heartfelt and high touch kind of work.
Exactly.
But you also, I have to mention it. It seems that you also increased the rate by at least like 30%, right? So again, that's appreciable and shouldn't be underestimated in terms of that. So that sounds absolutely fascinating, right? So now that you have access to the right people, you've overcome the shortage of caregivers. Do you have some goals in terms of growing your census or the number of older adults that you're recruiting or serving?
Yeah, so good question. I mean, I think maybe the last thing I might want to share, given that we talked about how the owner was working 7 days a week.
Yep.
So one of the biggest win, like we said, the personal side of it, she has now been able to take twice holidays for 2 weeks, and now she's been away for 3 weeks, and she literally can choose whenever she wants to go in the office to work. But the business, the office is running smoothly, even though the owner is not there anymore, and we can still grow the company.
Wow.
In terms of goals, for me, the big goal, it was to get to that. So we got to that 7-figure mark now. But one thing that maybe some companies forget is when they're starting to grow and they're getting traction, they're getting more clients and packages, they just grow without thinking of the foundation. So to me, building those systems was one phase. Now I'm at a place where we've grown, we've added new systems. You need to consolidate the foundation. Otherwise, when you get past the million mark, you go to the 1.5, 2 million. If you're too heavy at the top and there's no processes, there's no systems, there's no policies, you'll just crash down like a house built on sand. So for me right now, this phase we're at is looking at the processes, reorganizing the organization, because we've got more people in the teams, and figuring out who's in charge of what. And eventually we're going to now start going back into marketing. So in the UK and in my region, we were quite lucky. So the reason they were stuck is because, again, they had issues with recruitment, but they were not speaking to the right people. So first thing we did, of course, it's all about relationships. So we found the right people in our local authority, and which allowed us to get more packages. So to get to 1 million,
more packages, meaning more sort of opportunities.
Yes.
To get payment for services that you deliver to older adults because of the social care nature of the system in the UK. I'm just trying to explain this for the US audience.
Yeah. So the way it works is the local authorities will bring to you, they call it packages, but they are people that need a certain amount of care. So by having the right conversation, we were able to get our name out there so we can get more of those. And the thing is, Most of those companies are not even spending any money on marketing right now because it's quite easy. But in the UK, as maybe you guys have seen, have heard, there's a lot of cuts. The government, I won't talk about them, but we're getting a lot of budget cuts and things like that. So my goal is to teach or help companies out there to be more independent. So that's our next step, to go and use more of our own marketing rather than depending on the public sector, depending on the government to provide us that.
So to reach essentially the private pay
Yes.
market, people who are not eligible for social support from the local authorities or the government.
Exactly. So it works in three ways, actually. One, it diversifies your risk, because if you lose some of the packages from the government, or the government stops giving you packages, you're stuck there, right?
Or they cut
allowances. The budget. Or right now, they're actually reducing the rate they pay as well.
Yep.
So that can affect you. The other one is you can charge way more for the private, as everyone knows, right? You can charge
because
more.
they can afford it. Yeah, they can
afford it. But also, you can choose who you work with. So, you charge that amount, only the people that can pay that amount will come to you.
Yep.
And usually, if you don't go and fight towards charging the least amount, you're going to have good clients when they're happy to pay the higher price. It's just normal.
Yep.
And the other one, the margins are higher. So now you got more money to reinvest, to do more things, to take care of your clients better, of course, and of your team as well. So it all works together in an ecosystem. So that's kind of where we're going next on our journey here. But the big one is going to be better systems, reinforcing the systems. AI is going to be a big part for sure, and training the team so they can think on their feet.
Outstanding. This conversation gives me a lot of hope, and it should give our audience who are in the home care business and generally the audience who are struggling with recruitment, because also in the US, there is a significant shortage of paid caregivers for very similar reasons as the ones you've experienced in the UK. So I'm thrilled. So one last question: what other challenges are there out there? I know that you're now sort of reviewing your foundational works and systems, integrating them and preparing them for scale. What other, if you had a magic wand, especially an AI or a technology magic wand, what problem would you point it at to solve?
I think it would be on two layers or on two phases. Like you mentioned, with AI, that means you can have your policies, you can have, in our industry, in our location, it's called CQC. It's like the standards. You need to maintain a level of standards, so you need to do X, Y, Z thing. Having AI where all of the information is in the AI, but also, even though you've got AI, you've got the right data, the right information, it's now training your team to know how to use AI in the best way possible to maximize the information. Because most people, I've seen it, the questions people ask can be quite vague, but the more specific you are with the question you give to your AI, the better the results, the better the answers you're going to get. And that's how you're going to save time and, grow and find solutions wherever you need to.
Great. So where can people learn more, Nicholas, if they wanted to connect with you? Maybe can you give us your LinkedIn profile, your website?
Yeah, sure. So like you can see on my name, I'm the founder of Care Business Advisors. So on the back of helping this company, I've actually written a book as to how I've doubled the company and how we've been able to get the owner out of working from 7 days a week to now choosing when she wants to work. So if you want to find that, you could go to www.carebusinessadvisors.com. And over there, you'll see the book will be available. But also my goal right now is to really educate more people in terms of how you can turn things around, And it's not that hard if you know what to do. Like we say, right? You don't know what you don't know. So feel free to go and have a look, browse around. There'll be some tools, resources. So one of the things I'm looking at putting more out there as well is some of the tools that I've created and that I'm using myself. So some very simple one are kind of, I call them the annual leave tracker. So in the UK, you need to also understand how many hours people are doing, which will lead into how many holidays they're allowed to have. And that's a calculation. When I had the accountants, they were giving me very static information. But because care work keeps on growing as they do the work and the annual leave changes, it needs to be dynamic. So I've created a tool on that. So if people wanted that, have a look or send me a message. And then, I'm on LinkedIn as well. So Nicholas Lee. I mean, I'll give you, it's a bit long, kind of the handle. So we can.
Yeah, maybe if you can send it to me, I can post it with the in the comment when we post the recording.
Exactly. But yeah, I would say have a look. Get the book, have a look as to what can be done, because sometimes it's more about inspiration. And then if you don't know how to do it, do get in touch. Let's see if we can even help you. I might take you to the right information or share some tools. Or if you want me to help you one-on-one or as a consulting, happy to have a conversation and see how we can help.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Nicholas. This has been really inspiring. I look forward to reading the book, and I hope this was helpful to the audience. And until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Have a great
and
day.
Thank you very much for hosting. Have a good day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.